Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is another episode of Beyond the Clicking Clips. This is a podcast where I give you stories about my life experiences on the job or just in life, or we just talk about a few things and ramble on. This is a podcast where you can put me on in the background as you work, build Lego, do whatever you're doing in the background. You can have me try to entertain you as much as possible. I understand that, I understand that you're busy, so this is a good time just to hear me ramble on and tell you stories to do your thing. Make sure you hit the like and all that good stuff as well. Now, I do these podcasts. Hopefully it lasts about, 10, 15, 20 minute long podcast. Just me telling you a story. So, I enjoy doing this for you. I enjoy doing this and I want to keep doing it. So, I am. I don't know. But, last week, I kind of told you what we did in the fire department and stuff like that. Black smoke and white smoke, what it meant in the fire service, releasing my fire department. That's what we called it. Now, this week has been a weird week for me. It's been cold. We had a loss. We lost the internet. Our heater went out for a couple of days, and it reminds me of some stuff I went through in the fire department. So I won't tell you again. Now, picture this, middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, we get a call of a grass fire. Well, we knew we had some mistake because outside was covered in 4 inches of ice. So we knew there was no grass. We knew it was a structure fire. We went out there, and I swear to you, clear as day, we were fighting the fire, slipping, sliding around, trying to drag the hoses to put out the fire. And, we got the fire contained and put out. We're just hitting hot spots. And I don't know if y'all know what hot spots is. It's little bitty fires that, you're putting out a big fire and there's still smoke and smolder and amber on the wood, on the frame of the house, or little bitty flames that you're just going around getting the rest of it put out. And I looked when we entered. You enter the doorway. You look inside the house. One side of the door frame is on fire, and not more than 2 inches on the other side. As you outside of the door frame, on the outside was covered in ice. Now, I wish I had thought about taking a picture because I thought that's cool. I mean, there's a flame not even 2 inches away from this ice, and the ice is still there. It was weird, but that reminds me, that's the condition we have to do. So we have to go in it. We have to work. Call comes in, the weather can't stop us from going because that's our job. But that's just a small story, and still, when I lost heat, it takes me back to I think it was the year 07. We had an ice storm. I don't know. There's a lot of areas we had an ice storm, but especially where I lived, we had an ice storm and it was bad. We had 4 inches of ice, shut the whole town down for, I say, a good 2 weeks because the temperature never did get above 0 degrees, and everything was ice. There was no snow. It just rained, sleet and rain for like 2 or 3 days, and just built ice. People were still trying to get out in it. Why? That's the thing, man. Bad roads prepare some. Everybody's got access to the weather, either phone, radio, or by TV. Now, I understand there's people out there that I guess that don't have none of that, but, there's a word of mouth that you hear it. A lot of times I hear about snow before it even says it on the radio or the news. So, it's coming. Be prepared. Stay off the roads, especially on ice. I don't know why people think that there's ice. They gotta get out on the road and drive. Call in sick, call in the weather. Usually when something like that happens, businesses understand. I've not seen one business owner fire somebody for not coming in because of bad roads. We had a lot of factories shut down. They have it on the little scrolling underneath the screen on the TV. This corporation shut down for the day, blah, 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 and so on and so on. So there was no reason for them to be on the road. But anyway, I'm not trying to rant, but anyway, and that's just the firefighters. Like, why would they be on the road? They could have went to the store a few days before and stocked on. And I understand. I've been in a situation where I didn't get paid till last Friday, and I live paycheck to paycheck. So I get it, but always self-aware. Be aware of all this, mindful of it. Anyway, I lost power this week. Well, not power, but the heater and the furnace, and we had a busted water pipe, and we had no internet. Today, making this video is the first day we got internet back, so I'm thankful for that. We got a live stream. Anyway, back at the ranch. It reminds me, during that 07 ice storm, we got a bunch of calls for CO checks. Now, remind you, power's been out, 0 degrees, so people are trying to stay warm. And people were hooking up generators to their houses to generate some heat. Now, guys, I'm not judging these people, but I don't know what was going on in their heads, but I'm telling you now, in case you don't know, there's such thing as carbon monoxide poisoning, and that is when a fuel is being burned, it's a gas that puts out, and it is a odorless gas. You don't smell it. You don't get no warning. It's where you breathe in and you basically die. And you suffocate, basically. You fall asleep, and that's it. That's why you have carbon monoxide alarms in your house. They pick it up in case when if you're burning gas or burning wood, something putting on a gas is carbon monoxide, okay? But anyway, people were taking their generators and putting it in their garages, in their houses. I'm like, we have one fatality, and bless her heart, she didn't know. This situation, the generator was in the garage, brand new generator. They were putting it in the fall and just didn't get done with it. They didn't get it piped in. The exhaust wasn't put outside. It wasn't done yet. But husband, he was an electrician. He worked on the power line, so they were pretty busy. Power lines down and stuff during the night, so they were trying to trying to get power to everybody. So he wasn't out, and he usually comes in. He opens the garage door, let it air out, then go in there and get fuel in the generator when it shuts off. He'll open the door, let air out for a few minutes, and he just blindly told his wife, "Hey, can you go in there and put fuel in the generator? I'm not going to be home." And of course, she said yes. And of course, she's a housewife. She doesn't really know mechanical. And probably didn't even think about carbon monoxide when she was doing this. So she went out there, opened the door, shut it behind her as the generator was still going, and she only made it a few feet, and that's where we found her. She was barely in the door. So let's put it that way, there was a lot of carbon monoxide. Man, our meter was going crazy when we got there. I felt sorry for the husband because he thought he killed his wife. It was a bad situation. And went to another case where it was a house that set on a hill, and they had a drive-through garage that went through the hill underneath the house. They had both doors open, and they had a generator sitting in the middle. They didn't have to get out in the climate to put gas in it. They thought it was in the garage, and I opened the back doors thinking that it was going to ventilate good and everything. And we were going through the house with our meters, and it was just going off like crazy. And me and my partner was looking at each other. So you think that would be enough ventilation? I don't know where they getting the carbon monoxide. What it was doing was creating a chimney. The wind was coming in both sides of the garage door and pushing the carbon monoxide up the hallway into the house. So if you ever find yourself in a situation where you got to use a generator for heat, put that thing out completely outside. You might have to bear the weather for a few minutes while you put it up in gas and keeping it going. My suggestion is, people start getting smart. They built a wooden box with a hole in there for the exhaust to go through, kept it insulated, put it over the generator, and it had no problem. They just went out there, took the box off, filled it up. You had to brave the elements for a few minutes, but when you got in, you had a little bit of heat. Make sure, especially this kind of weather, most people should know, but make sure you have plenty of water and non-perishable foods where you don't have to prepare it. You can eat basically out of a can, or survival food, whatever people call it. Multigrain bars or stuff that don't need to be refrigerated. Of course, people, were smart back then too. They saved most of their food with no power. All they did was put the food in the coolers and put it outside of their house. They kept it cold and frozen. But they had no way of heating it up or anything like that. So, make sure in this weather you keep water on hand. You keep non-perishable food that you can eat without having to heat it up or cooking it. Whatever that may be. Just as a little insurance that, hey, we want to live a couple of days like this. We're going to have to do this. Never heat your house from your stove or your oven. That's another fire hazard. Seen a lot of houses catch on fire for people doing that. And that's not even during a winter storm. People maybe down on their luck and they don't have electric, but they got gas, and they use their oven to try to heat the house up. A lot of fires happen that way too. There's a stove ain't built to warm up houses. It's built to cook your food, but I didn't know what I was going to do on this podcast, but I wanted to share with you guys and talk to you guys about it. So that's the thing, man. It just another little thing you could do if you are in that situation. Start shutting down your house. You and your family sleep in one room. And then you just put quilts up over the doorways, trying to make your space smaller. Try to, a lot of people use the living room. And that's where you do all your business. I mean, you stay there in that room, get you a little heater that you can run off your generator, heat just that area. Don't worry about the rest of the house, just that area where you're in. But you gotta be mindful of that too. Make sure ain't nothing around the heater that's gonna catch fire. So always man it. Don't leave it unattended. Yeah. So I mean, this trying times, this freezing weather sucks. Especially for fire services and living in it. There's other things you could probably do, to keep warm and stuff, and you do what you comfortable with and what you do, of course. But I just one of those things, man. I tell you, I do appreciate y'all listening to this, and next week we may go in something different, but this week this freezing weather kind of got me thinking. Well, you know what? This reminds me, and this is what I'm going to share my experiences with you, and that's what happened. But guys, hope you liked this podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you guys for listening and watching. Remember, pay it forward, be nice to one another. Pay it forward, always be good. And thank you for everything you guys do. And yeah. Maybe hit the like button. Maybe leave me a comment down there and let me know where it is. And if you ain't subscribed, maybe consider subscribing. And remember, y'all, clicking ain't easy, but it's fun.